in whatever we covered till now. Any doubts? Means you can ask, otherwise we can proceed with the confidence intervals. Okay. Okay, so we will proceed. So basically, now we will be going to what is called the interval estimation. So interval estimation, as I already told, our objective is given something corresponding to statistics. I have to find some intervals A and B, and I have to tell within some relative degree of error that this thing, my population corresponding parameter will be lying within this interval. So that is my objective. So for that, I will define a few terms. The first thing we already saw yesterday in hypothesis testing, first one is called alpha. That is called a significance level. So I want, suppose I will define, if nothing is specified, I will tell that my significance level is 5% or 10% or even 1%. So what that tells is that suppose I define A and B, then the within a probability of like 1 minus alpha, that with 95% probability, the actual population value should be lying inside my interval. So as you can see, if I am using 5%, I will get something interval like this. If I am using 1%, my interval will be again something bigger than this. And if I am using 10%, my interval will be again something less than this. So as I increase my significance level, my 1 minus alpha or what is called the confidence level, it will go on decreasing. So for a level of significance 1%, my confidence level will be 1 minus alpha will be 99%. For confidence level of for level of significance 5%, my confidence level will be 95. So for level of significance 10, my confidence level will be 90. So as you can see, you can directly know this from the plot itself. So this whatever value I am writing on the left side is actually what I want to reject. So that is the sum of area in this side and sum of area in this side. So in the 1% case, I want this area plus this area to be 1%. So I'll be like including maximum points inside my interval. Then I am like when I go to 5%, I'll be like moving my interval A further inside, interval B further inside, so that the area of my tails increases, so that the net area, my acceptance region reduces to 95. Similarly, going to 10%. So as I already told, in interval estimate, we are supposed to determine two constants C1 and C2 such that probability that the parameter lies between C1 and C2 is equal to 1 minus alpha, where alpha we will call the level of significance, 1 minus alpha we will call as the confidence level. And the interval C1 and C2 is called the confidence interval. And the particular values C1 and C2 are called confidence limit. C1 is called the lower confidence limit and C2 is called the upper confidence limit. Now suppose given some problem, how I can find the confidence interval. So that is what is written here. So given any problem, I will be given some mu and either sigma or SI will be given. So from that I have to first find the Z score. Z equal to x minus mu by sigma to approximate it to a standard normal table, so that I can directly find the values easily from that. So standard error in this case, from the earlier thing, it is given by sigma by root n, right? For my normal distribution case, and if it is, even if it is not a normal distribution, if n greater than 30, I can always take s by root n. That is sample standard deviation by root n as my standard error. So that is my first step. I find out the standard. That is the thing equation that we will be using to find out the confidence levels. So how you will do that? So as we told earlier, two cases we considered when we interpreted set table. One is given set value, we found out the probability of some value, and given some probability, we found out the set value. So this second approach we will be using here. So whatever value we are given, like alpha, that is my probability, right? So if it is a single-tailed and two-tailed test we saw in last class, I'll just tell once again. So if my acceptance region is all this, I am supposed to find only one value, A. I don't have an interval here. So then this is my area alpha and this is called a right tail test. So this can be the case like maximum lead content in Maggi noodles. So I don't want it to be greater than some particular value. If that maximum lead content is greater than some particular value, I am not confident about that sample. So that in cases like that, it will follow this like right-tailed distribution, right-tailed case. Now consider a left-tailed case. So that would be like something like my rejection interval is this. So one example, what you can tell, you have to tell that suppose there is one medicine and like let's say Calpol, paracetamol, and I will tell that only if the value is greater than A, I will have some the paracetamol tablet will have some effect on my body. So that way, any paracetamol tablet which is having that particular paracetamol content less than this value A, I will have to reject. So again, this case, the probability here will be alpha. So alpha this case, what I told, it can be 1%, 5%, 10%. That will be either specified in the question, or if it is not specified in the problem, we can assume it as 5%. So in the right-tailed case, my alpha here will be 5% will be the probability. So I have to find this area corresponding to probability 0.95 in my set table. And in this case, my alpha will be 5%. If I consider, then I have to find the set table set value corresponding to probability of 0.05. So these are my one-tailed cases. Now let's consider the two-tailed case. So now let's say there is a machine which puts a hole in a metal sheet, and I will tell that provided the hole is diameter of the hole is within some particular interval, I can accept that from the quality point of view, because I will be using that hole for some other purpose. I will be inserting some screw into that. So that screw also will be Hansson tolerance, right? So I have to define some upper and lower limit for the diameter of the hole, within which only I will accept the screw lot of the screw. So any value which is less than some particular diameter and greater than some particular diameter, I will have to reject. So this is a case for like two-tailed test. That is, both the tails I have to reject. I have to have in my output only the value which is like not having either tails. So in this case, suppose again if I consider 5% to be my total level of significance, so 5% area I have to reject. So I need to have 2.5% area here, half of that, 2.5% of area here, and 2.5% of area here. So that way, so that total net area that I reject is 5%. So this area that we reject will be called a critical region or rejection region, and the value, the range that we are accepting will be called the acceptance region. So this is how I will do for my two-tailed test. So similarly, if I am given 10% as my alpha, then here I have to find the left tail 5% and similarly right tail 5%. So now how, like this example that we already saw earlier, I will just tell once again how we can find the two tails from the value from the set table. So set table, suppose I told this earlier, I will just recap once again. So in this case, I want to find out the area corresponding to this left side and this and this. I have to like sum. So that together will give me 5%. So I have to find the value corresponding to 2.5%. So I have to find the value corresponding to 0 to 5. Probability 0 to 5. I have to find this is 0 to 5 to 7 to 5. So I can find it here, right? Minus 1.96. So I know that this value is minus 1.96 and this value is 1.96. So between minus 1.96 and 1.96 set scores, I will be having my rejection interval as 5%. So now I will use my formula x minus mu by sigma, and set I will substitute with minus 1.96 and 1.96. Then I will get two values for my x. That will be my confidence intervals C1 and C2 in this case. So similarly, single case also we will just see with this slide itself first before we go into problems. So suppose it is a left tail test, 5%. I have to find the probability corresponding to 0.05. So 0.05 will be coming somewhere here. Let's see 0.05. 0.05, yeah, here between these two. 0.495 and 0.0. So it is minus 1.6 minus 1.645 we can assume. So minus 1.645, again my same x minus mu by sigma equal to this. I will get a value of x that will be corresponding to my lower confidence interval in this case. Now similarly, upper case, I have to find this particular area to be 5%. So I can see in the table for the value corresponding to 0.95. So here one trick is there, like I got minus 1.645 something here. No, here also I will get the same thing in the positive side. So if I say minus 1.645, right? So minus 0.95 will write here. So this is because my normal curve is symmetrical about x-axis, about x equal to 0. So I'll get the same value probability for 5% here. My value, if it is 1.645, for 5% value here, again my value will be minus 1.645. So this is what we did. This is how we can use it to solve problems. So summarizing all, we first have to find the critical value set star corresponding to probability alpha for one tail test, that is 5%, or alpha by 2, 2.5% for alpha by 2. Now suppose if it is given 10, then correspond to 10 and 5. Suppose it is given 1, then correspond to 1 and 0.5. So that way we have to first find the critical value set star. Then we will find the margin of error, which is like this equation. Z equal to x minus mu by standard error. We will be calling what is called Z, the product of Z and standard error, as margin of error. So first we will compute that. Then my x will be the mu plus or minus margin of error. So that is same whatever I told in the example. This is how you will actually write it. So now as you saw, every time we need not like use a normal table, find it, because most of the times our case will be like 1%, 10% or 5% only. Very rarely we will be asked to find out confidence interval corresponding to other values. So you can actually even by heart the values, or you can like compile the values and find it out. So I have just compiled it here for comparison. So if you're considering a two-tailed case, for 90% as we saw earlier, it will be 1.645, 95% 1.96, 99% 2.58. Similarly, for a left tail test or right tail test, left tail test it will be minus, right tail test it will be positive. Like 95% case we saw that it is minus 1.645 and 1.645. So some table like this you can always keep handy reference, or you 2-3 values only you can even, because 95% is the thing that is most important. So you can by heart these two values, 1.96 and 1.645. And if you see, this value is actually same as this. This is intuitive, right? Because 10% in two-tailed test we have to divide into 2 points. But here that 5% itself we are considering. So that way you can like by heart these values, or just 95% values you can by heart. So at most of the problems will be coming for 95% only. Now this is the set case that we saw. Now what if my sigma is unknown and n is less than 30? So as we saw in previous slide, in this case we have to use what is called a t-statistic with the degrees of freedom n minus 1. So we will see that also in the subsequent slides. So now we will solve some 2-3 problems related to whatever equations that we saw. So I will not be like referring a standard table again. I will be using this whatever values I have compiled directly. in my examples. So we will see some, let me see the time. Time is 8. Okay, so then we can see some 2, 3, 4 examples maybe out of this. And we will go to T distribution and we will see 1 or 2 examples out of this. So maybe we will try to wind up by 8:30. Okay. So let's say first example we will see. So 4 examples I have given. We will solve depending on time. Okay. So first question I am giving is sample of 50 items where I am given n is equal to 50. Population standard deviation is given sigma, that is given as 16. Population mean is given, no, sample mean is given 52.5. So that is my X bar. I am supposed to find out the 95% confidence level. So here n is greater than 30. So I can directly go for my central limit theorem. I can directly find the standard error, that is sigma by root 10. So that is sigma is 16 divided by root of 50. So I actually computed this and kept so that we will not waste much time. You can refer later to the computation and calculate it is direct straightforward, right? 16 by root 50, it will give me 2.26. And since this is a two-tailed test, right? So two-tailed test from our previous table, my Z alpha by 2 is 1.96. So this is the Z star that I have to use. So my Z star equal to 1.96. And my margin of error will be 1.96 into 2.26. And my limits C1 and C2 will be 52.5, which is X bar, plus or minus this 1.96 into 2.26. This I am not doing, straightforward you can do, right? I hope you got how I solve this. Okay, I will just get a confirmation from you, then I will proceed. You got how I solve this problem, right? Or should I repeat? It's only very simple implementation only, but this thing, once you get this problem, like you will be able to solve almost all problems. Okay, you got it, but you want me to repeat once again. Okay, so I'll repeat it once again. So my question is this: I am giving a you keep in mind these steps in which I am doing. How to identify a problem, how to identify which equation to apply and all. So how I read a problem, you just take care. So a sample of 50 items. So from that I got 10 taken from a population. So as population is told here, standard deviation I am given sigma as 16 and then gave a mean of 52.5. This if you read from the sample, you are told that the sample is giving a mean of 52.5. So this is actually X bar. And you are supposed to find out 95% confidence interval for the population mean mu. So as we saw in previous case, first step is you have to find the standard error. So we can approximate this to a normal distribution using central limit theorem, and it tells me that standard error is equal to sigma by root 10. Sigma is 16 in this case, n is 50. So 16 by root 50 will give me 2.26 something. And I have to find the 95% confidence interval two-tail case. So I have already computed. So one tail will be, this tail will be 2.5%. This tail will be 2.5%. So corresponding value I have already found out from my normal table and kept here. So that is 1.96. So I have to find the margin of error that is given by Z critical into standard error. Z critical in this case is 1.96 into 2.26. Now to find my confidence interval, referring back to my formula, it is sample statistics plus or minus margin of error. So sample statistics in this case is 52.5. So plus or minus my margin of error. Minus will give me a lower interval and plus will give me my upper interval. So 52.5 plus or minus 1.96 into 2.26 will give my confidence interval corresponding to this first problem. Okay, so we will solve other problem. Our next three problems are also on same lines, slightly different cases. So we will solve those also. So you will get this concept very clear. Second is like this. Sample of 100 items. So there I am giving n, gave a mean of 7.4. So I am given X bar here and standard deviation 1.2. So as opposed to this case, I was given population standard deviation. But in this case, I am actually given for the sample. Nothing is told about the population here. So this is for the sample. So this is actually S here. And I am supposed to find the 95% confidence limits for population mean. Now again, in this case, it is not told whether the population is normal or not. So I have to make use of my central limit theorem assumption that if n is greater than 30, I can make use of the central limit theorem. So I can assume that this is normal. Now I don't have the sigma here to compute the standard error. So since n is greater than 30, I am safe to assume my S to be my sigma. So I can directly use S by sigma root n as my this thing. So that will be like 1.2 by root of 100. That will be 1.2 by 10, right? 0.12. So again 95% confidence interval. So my Z star will be again same as previous case. 1.96 only, right? Yeah. So my margin of error will be 1.96 into 0.12. And to compute my estimate of mean, I have to sample mean I have to do from that plus or minus. So this will be my confidence interval corresponding to estimate of mu, which will be sample statistic. Sample mean 7.4 plus minus margin of error, which is given by Z star into standard error. So same as what we did in the first problem. Now let's see one more problem. Okay. Okay. So in this case, the mean operating life of random 15 samples taken from a population with standard deviation 500 is 8,900. So I have N15 here. Population standard deviation is given 5,000 sigma, and my X bar is given as 8,900. So here, as you can see, my N is less than 30. It is not told that the population is normal, but the population standard deviation is known, right? So as I told earlier, if my population standard deviation is known or my N greater than 30, I can directly go for the Z distribution, central limit theorem direct application. So in this case, since the population standard deviation is given, had in this case the sample standard deviation only was given, like in my example 2, I cannot approximate it to a normal distribution. But since here population standard deviation is known, I can make use of the normal distribution itself. So here we will see two things. One is 95% we will see, then 90% we will see. Same way, whatever we did earlier. So first we have to find the standard error. Standard error is sigma by root n, right? Sigma by root n. So that is 500 by root of 15. So you will get something like 129.1. So that will be my standard error. And for 95% and 95%, this is two-tail case only. So I'll just see the values. So 90% is 1.645 and 1.96. So I'll just write it here. 90%. So values are here 1.645 and 1.96. So these correspond to my 1 minus alpha. These correspond to my Z star. So now I have to multiply this by standard error, which is 129.1. Second case, it is again 129.1. This is my margin of error with the confidence interval 95% and 90%. Now I have to mean 8,900 of the statistics is given. So to find my confidence interval, it will be 8,900 plus or minus 1.96 into 129.1 for the 95% case, and 1.645 into 129.1 in the 90% case. I hope this is clear, right? So the next example also you just see it is all same lines only. Same lines only. So in this again, this case, n is given as 900, x bar is given as 4.45, and I am asked whether this belongs to a population with the mean 5 centimeter. Mu is given, variance sigma square is given 4, so sigma is equal to 2. Now I am asked a question. A random sample of 900 members has a mean of 4.45. Is it belonging to a population with the mean 5 and variance 4? So same way I can answer, I can find the confidence interval and I can see whether the 5 is inside that or outside that to know that whether it is in this population or not. So what I can do is again same case, some confidence interval is not given here, so I will assume 5%. So two-tailed case. So again 1.96 into my sigma by root n, 2 by square root of 900. So that will be my margin of error. So x bar is like 4.45. So 4.45 plus or minus my margin of error, which I computed here, 1.96 into 2 by root of 960. So I will get something like 4.3 and 4.5 lower and upper limits. So if you see the given population, it is mean is 5. So it is definitely. So if you think in terms of normal curve, I found out that my mean is lying between 4.3 and 4.5 for this sample. Whereas for the actual population that I was asked to check, it is 5. So this area we know that it is the rejection region. So from this confidence interval, I can know that this particular sample that I am having cannot be part of this particular population. So that with that we can move to t-distribution.